Okay, so now we're going to move into fact finding. So the big thing about this is where you are going to gather all the information that you need to make a solid connection with the customer, find the right car, make the numbers work, and deliver that car today, if at all possible. But if you skip through this or you don't do it right, it's going to be a very difficult. Um, it's going to be a difficult situation for you and for them, pretty much all the way through. So make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil to write notes, and you'll probably want to watch this video a couple times because there's a lot of information here. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing that you have to understand is you have to listen. You have to hear what they say. You have to hear what they don't say. Watch their body language. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you might know everything that there is to know about the car, but at this point, you're still just a car salesman. You want to make sure that you get across that you are there to help, you're there to assist, you are there to serve their needs and make sure that they're completely satisfied. Slow down and pay attention. It is okay to spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about what they need. Okay, so on a side note, I recommend everybody listens to, reads, however you absorb information, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and this is a piece of one of them. So seek first to understand. It's really kind of self-explanatory, but if you don't understand who they are, where they're coming from, what they're driving now, what they're looking to be driving, you're really just shooting in the dark, and how many times do you hit the mark when you shoot in the dark? Not very often. So let's walk through this together. So hear what they say, look at it from their perspective, rephrase what they said, and ask deeper questions. So this is something that's going to happen throughout the entire process. So listen to what they've said. Think about it from their perspective. What is the message that they're trying to get across to you? What do they actually mean? Rephrase what they've said in your own words so that they know that you're on the same page with them. And if there's any ambiguity, ask deeper questions. So there's many times a statement is going to trigger a question, right? Ask the question. If you don't have the answer to that question, there's really no way that you can fully understand the road that we're going to go down together. So hear what they say, look at it from their perspective, rephrase what they said, and ask deeper questions. And you don't want to memorize that. And I'm telling you, this one thing you can use in your whole life. You can use it in your relationships. You can use it when you're buying something. You can use it when you're selling something. Whatever the case may be, this is such a core to what we do, right? Selling is not speaking. Selling is listening. And if you can master this, then you're going to be in a way better situation than you are today. Pay attention to tone and body language. So the words only account for about 15% of the actual conversation. And this is very easily proved. Have you ever gotten an email or a text from somebody that seemed like it was way more detrimental than what it actually was, or it came across to you like they were, throwing rocks at you, or maybe they were mad about something, and that wasn't the case at all, right? So the words are only about 15% of the content. Body language and voice inflection are 85% of the conversation. If somebody's standing like this, with their arms crossed, they're not listening. They're not in an open situation and ready to receive information. If somebody is speaking in a really lowered voice or a very quiet voice, they're not as engaged. There's not as much energy. When the tones come up, the octave comes up, there's more energy there. So pay attention to the whole conversation, everything that is happening and everything that is not happening, everything that is not said. Listen for all of it. That'll give you a deeper understanding of where you're at. So this is a big deal, and a lot of people just kind of skip past this and jump right into moving to the interrogation phase, you might call it. But ask permission. Hey, to make the best use of your time, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Um, what are you going to ask me questions about? Well, I want to make sure that we make the best use of your time. So ask permission first before you just start the interrogation. And don't assume anything. Understand you are still just a car salesperson. This is where we start moving past that and you start to become a person. They want to do this process their way. They've heard nothing but bad things about you and about car salespeople and about dealerships and how we're all here to rip them off, right? So they're coming in, they're prepared, their walls are up, right? They want to do it their way. And understand they've already been warned about you. They've been told, yeah, car salesmen are terrible. They're all liars and thieves, and that's why I say, use this step in the process to become a person, to become a human, become their best friend, because people don't buy anything from somebody that they don't like or don't trust, right? So create that bond. So this is a thing that I like to say, let them drive, but you're going to navigate. So picture like you're driving down the road, that you're building your roadmap right now. You're going to put them in the driver's seat. You're going to let them have control, but you're going to navigate, right? So you're going to ask them, hey, do we want to take this exit? Do we want to take that exit? Yes or no, right? And you're going to be headed down that road to the sale. Offer suggestions. Hey, you might think about, getting something with this. If you're going to keep this car for 10 years, you might think about having a sunroof. If you're going to keep this for, only 3 years, maybe, this or that isn't that important. Keep those things in mind and become their buddy, become their advocate. And always be gathering information. Always go back to what we just talked about. Seek first to understand. Always circle back to it. Hear what they say, look at it from their perspective, rephrase what they said, and ask deeper questions. And understand this is not an interrogation. This isn't, okay, well, what kind of car do you drive now? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? How much money do you have to spend? What do you want your payment to be? How much down payment do you have? They're going to shut you off in their mind. They're not going to pay attention. They're not going to want to be part of this process. So pay attention, make it conversational, and understand if they feel like they're under that 1,000-watt halogen lamp, they're not going to open up to you. It's going to be a very, very difficult process. Okay, so we've got the framework set. So the first question that I like to ask, if you could build a perfect car, what would it look like? Now in the meet and greet, if you ask them, say, hey, what brought you in today? And they say, well, I'm here to see stock number V4561. It's a 2018 Tiguan. Okay, great. What was it about that car that excited you? So you might change this up a little bit. But if well, I was out in the area and it was downtown and we were looking around, we figured we'd stop and see what you got. Perfect. If you could build a perfect car, what would it look like? So this makes them visualize the car in their head, and now they're going to start to describe it to you. And hopefully, while you're talking to them, you're starting to see this vision of this car in your head as well. You know what you have in inventory. You know what these things that they're seeing are going to equate as far as a car that's going to be on your lot. So start keeping that in mind. Start visualizing it in your head. What is the styling like, right? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it safe? Is it affordable? Like what are the big things to the customer, right? What's their driving, what's driving the process, and what are their buying motives? Dig deeper. So one thing that I like to do, if somebody says something that doesn't make all the sense in the world to me, like they say, well, if I could build a perfect car, it would look like a Corvette. Then I might, mirror that back to them and just say, a Corvette? Well, yeah, it'd be, red and, sleek lines and, they go deeper into into the discussion. So that's a great way to let them know, hey, I'm listening. I haven't gotten all the information that I need. So you can mirror a portion of the statement back to them. A Corvette? Right? I need something with, 4 doors and, 4 wheels. Okay, four doors, and let them, start to go deeper into their explanation. So you can repeat 1 or 2 words of something that they said to draw more information out. Okay, so question number 2, what are you driving now? So this is a big one too, right? Because we're either replacing, we're adding to the fleet, whatever the case may be. And if it's possible, go walk over to that car and ask them some questions about the car. Go walk around it with the customer. Oh man, looks like you got a star on the windshield. Oh, it's got some dents and dings. Man, you're gonna want to replace those tires soon. This is all information that's going to help you later, right? So when we're inside and we're negotiating, hey, look, if we go this way, yeah, you got to put $1,000 down, but you don't have to replace the tires on your car. You don't have to worry about the dents and the dings. You don't have to get the windshield replaced. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to go out and walk around their car and know what it is that they have right this very second, especially if that's the one that they're replacing. Are they replacing? Are they adding to? What do they need in their next one? Keep these in mind when you're walking around that car, and again, dig deeper. Well, how long have the dents been there? Oh my gosh, I got that dent the first week after I bought it, right? So you had to live with that dent for 5 years? What do the neighbors think? Point that stuff out and make it fun. Keep it conversational, but make it fun. And use mirroring like we talked about. So this is a connection question, and we're going to go into connections in a later video, but you want to make several connections on your way through the process. So what is it that you like about that car? Well, it gets great gas mileage, it's lasted me a long time, whatever the case may be. What features on the car do you like? Does it have power windows? Does it have power locks? Does it have a sunroof? Does it got big tires or big wheels? Is it all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive? Gather this information and continue to dig deeper. The more information that you have, the better you're going to be able to consult and get the right solution for the customer. Okay, question number 4. What is it that you don't like about that car anymore? Well, it's got too many miles on it, or this or that or the other. So this does 2 things. Number 1, it allows them to start to let go of that car, because they're going to focus on the bad things that they've been overlooking this whole time. They've been overlooking the fact that they got to get new tires. They overlook the fact that it's got dents and dings all over it. They overlook the fact that they backed into something, a year and a half ago in it, and now the bumper isn't the right color anymore. It's all scratched up and dinged up and jacked up. And it gives you great comparative information, so that when we are comparing to the new car, well, you're not going to have to worry about this. You're not going to have to worry about that. You're selling a solution to the problem, right? You can amplify the pain if you know what it is. So amplify the pain so that your solution is that much more viable, and listen to what they aren't saying. So here's a couple examples. So what they say isn't always exactly what they mean. So if they say, well, it's got 150,000 miles on it. So that's actually not something that they don't like about the car. They probably are very happy that they got every dollar that they possibly could out of that car, right? What they're saying is they don't trust it anymore. Well, it's a little banged up, right? So they're concerned about what others think. When they drive up to Thanksgiving dinner in their car with a big, dent down the side of it because somebody hit them or they ran it up against a pole or whatever the case may be, whoever's going to see that car, they're going to have a first impression too, right? So maybe that's the issue. If they say, well, it gets horrible gas mileage, well, that hits you right here in the pocketbook. So keep all of these things in mind so that we can use them later to justify, what makes buying a new car their best bet. Okay, so this is a big one too. So what websites have you visited as part of your research? So whatever websites they tell you, and their research has to be justified. So you can't just say, well, yeah, KBB says that you should get this much money for your car, but you're never going to get that much money, right? Or Edmund says that, yeah, you should pay, half of MSRP for a car, but that's never going to happen, right? They've done this research, they've invested this time, and that time needs to be justified. So a couple things to keep in mind when they say, well, I went to kbb.com. What does that mean? Well, that means that they probably have a trade-in and they've got a pretty good idea of what it's worth. If they say they've been to Edmunds, True Car, Cars Direct, they're probably looking at a new car and they know, or they have some expectation of what they're going to pay for it. If they've been to Auto Trader or Cars.com, same thing. They're looking for a used car and they have some idea of what they're planning on paying for it. If they've been to the brand site, then chances are they've built the car that they actually want with the features that they want. And if they've been to the dealer site or our site, they know that we have the car. They may even know what the stock number is on it. So understand, they're going to keep as much of this information guarded as they can. But when they start saying, well, yeah, I went to kbb.com, right? They haven't told you they have a trade. They haven't told you what they're expecting for it, but yeah, I went to kbb.com. Okay, well, they have a trade. If, they're thinking, oh man, I'm going to get one over on this guy. He's going to think I'm going to pay, all the money for this car, but I know what I should pay. And if he won't do it, I'll just go to the next dealership. Well, if they say, well, and I also went to Edmunds.com, then he has some idea of what he's planning on paying for the car. So even though they're not going to reveal this information to you necessarily right off the bat, you know that they have it. So keep that in mind as you're going through the process. Now, after you have collected all of this information, now it's time that we're going to make that connection, and we're going to summarize everything that we've heard back to them. So restate what they're looking for in your words and ask if that sounds right. If they say, yep, that's perfect. Okay, did I miss anything? Well, it also has to have, nice rims and tires on it. Okay, cool. If they say, no, not quite. Okay, great. Tell me what I missed, and ask them if they don't volunteer. So this is where you make that connection by saying, okay, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, this is what it sounds like you're looking for. This type of car, performance is important, appearance is important, it's got to be safe for the kids and have plenty of room for everybody. Did I miss anything? And it has to be affordable. No, that's perfect. Okay, great. So the thing that's so important about this is the right summary creates that connection. We're going to cover more about that. But if you don't make those connections, you really, at the end, you really don't have very much of anything. Okay, so we've asked them a few questions. We've gathered a lot of information. We've summarized everything, and we've given it back to them, and they said, yes, that sounds great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to build the chain, and we're going to set the expectation of exactly what's going to happen next. So there are no fly balls coming from left field, right? Everything that's going to happen next is fully expected, and it sets you up for success later. So this is what I like to call build the chain. So, okay, great. This is what's going to happen next. We're going to go find your next car. We're going to take a closer look and drive that car to make sure that it's perfect, and then we're going to work together to make sure that you get the best value. Does that sound good? And they might stop you in there somewhere and go, well, no, I'm not buying a car today. Okay, that's perfect. That means that we really get to dig in and find, the one that's going to be perfect. Because if there's no pressure to buy right this very second, then you know that you can't make a bad decision. Oh, okay. All right, follow me, right? And start walking them to your first choice of cars that you started seeing in your head. But really the takeaways here, the questions don't have to necessarily be the questions that I've stated. The questions that are in here are going to give you really solid understanding of what it is that the customer wants. Mirror what they say back to them, re-summarize, in short bursts, Corvette, and let them talk. Let them get it off of their chest. They know everything that there is to know about you, your brand, the car, everything from all of this research that they've done online. The average person does 19 hours of research online, and all of that time has to be justified. So let them talk about it, let them tell you about it, and use it to your advantage when you get to the point where we are doing negotiating, we're doing the demo drive, we're presenting the car. Do everything from their perspective. right? Well, hey, I know you didn't want to pay $300 a month, but you don't have to replace the tires. You don't have to replace the windshield. You got a 3-year, 36,000 or a 6-year, 72,000 mile full bumper to bumper warranty. You know, cater to their buying motives, their concerns, and make your option, make your solution the only solution. All right, we'll see you in the next video.